Yo, what's going on, fam? Well, sorry, y'all. If you can hear me well, give me a thumbs up really quick. Give me a thumbs up. It's Need. Welcome to STEMedia Live. I am your host, Dr. Nehemiah Mabry. I'm going to try to make sure everything is good and go because I'm excited, man. Why am I excited, you ask? Because we have another phenomenal guest. This is STEMedia Live, where we chat with some of the most inspirational and creative people. I'm excited. Thanks for the thumbs up. Glad you can hear me. Nadia, what up, Kelly? There she is, a woman of the hour. KMMN. Hey, thanks for the wave, y'all. This is the place. STEMedia Live, again, where we dive into the journeys. We jump into the journeys like so many where I'm like, man, this is long overdue. This is a guest I've been waiting to chat with. Feel like I've known for a long time. And we're going to get into that in just a little bit. But before we get into that, y'all, Jay Flores brought to you by none other than the STEM Media Network. That's right. STEMedia.com, where you can get exclusive access to interviews. Courses are on the way. I'm telling you, we're working some things behind the scenes. If you like these STEMedia Lives, if you like the content we put out on Instagram and so forth and so on, then you definitely. Thanks for the thumbs up. Hey, shout out to the people on YouTube real quick. We're going to get this thing going in just a little bit. But for y'all who don't know, we are leaning into our YouTube channel. Bar and search STEM Media. And you can watch this same live right now. We're streaming on YouTube right next to me in the laptop. And so hit subscribe, comment over on YouTube as well. So if y'all are subscribed, if you were subscribed, let me know. Say I'm subscribed. If you subscribe, give me a thumbs up. You subscribe. All right. Jay, what up, Jay? I know Jay Flores is subscribed. I know you got me, man, over there. Anybody subscribe on BMEK? When we get to see you, we definitely need y'all to support on YouTube. Yes, thumbs up, Kelly. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, y'all. Without further ado, I'm gonna in faith know and trust and believe that many of you all for STEM Media Live this evening. Our guest this evening. Oh, let me see. Virtual diet. Yes, STEM Media. STEMEDI. Subscribe, like, and comment on this video. You can see this live and direct from YouTube as well. So shout out to you. Shout out to Teresa. All right, y'all, check it out. My homegirl, Kelly Knight, is an assistant professor with the George Mason University Forensic Science Program. STEM Accelerator, she guides and mentors undergraduate students in the Forensic Science Program and coordinates K-12 STEM outreach. As a part of her outreach efforts, she is the co-founder and director of Females of Color and Those Underrepresented in STEM Science. How she became a forensic scientist, how 2019 STEM Success Summit. So right now, I'm going to present y'all to some, introduce to others. Let's get the hearts going right now. Our guest for this evening, the phenomenal, the incomparable, I'm going to introduce and bring on the line, Miss Kelly Knight. Let's get the hearts going, y'all. Give me some hearts, give me some love. We about to bring her on right now. There we go. There we go. There we go. Hey! Oh my goodness! Look at this popping. Background popping.
Legit.
Kelly,
I'm legit now. Yes.
And you legit. You legit. You make. Hold on now. Wait. I thought this was my.
There you go.
Hey, listen. No shame in your game. but check it out though. Check it out. Since we go ahead and point out stuff. Is that a STEM Success shirt you got on there?
I mean,
there it is, boom! Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, Kelly Knight is on STEMedia Live. Thank you so much for joining us, Kelly.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. You already know this is the honor and pleasure is all ours. Those hearts are your applause. But for now, we got the hearts. So that's what is going your way right now.
I love it.
Yes. All right, man. STEMedia Live. All right, let's get to it because, you know, Instagram cut us short with this hour. But let me ask you our kickoff question. You've heard it. You've watched the show before. Give us a random fun fact about yourself. I got your bio, but give us a little.
I'm a forensic scientist. I'm a professor. I'm a mom. But what some people don't know is there's three things that they may not know. One, I'm a certified group. I have a motorcycle license, so I'm a tatted motorcycle loving mama.
What? Yo, I feel like on paper, you are like 10 different people on paper. I promise you.
I am.
Well, I guess that all goes into the pot and makes you, you know, sort of the creative, technical, you know, genius that you are, having all these different aspects of your character and personality.
It does. I like to, you know, flavor a little bit of all different types of lives.
Yeah. So let me ask.
My husband hates motorcycles, so he made me promise. He had a couple friends who passed away on him, unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
Still have my license if I need to go out and ride somewhere.
There you go. You can take the girl off the bike, but you can't take the bike from inside the girl. I love it.
Right.
I'm trying to showing some love. What up, Mia? Yes. Teresa, showing love. STEM sisters, welcome to the building. We're here with the forensic scientist, which is just one of the many titles, as we already know, for you, Kelly. And we want to get into your story a little bit. Of course, I had the pleasure of before the tattoos, before the bike license, you know what I mean? Before the degrees, like, tell us about the early days. Where are you from? Where did you grow up? Like, what this young Kelly? DC?
Yeah.
Go music.
Yeah, so we moved around quite a bit before I got to 7 years old, and then once I turned 7, you know, I considered the DMV to be my home. So raised in Maryland, and always been a science nerd, always loved it. My mom was an educator, and so science and education have always just kind of been ingrained in me from the beginning. My dad made me a private lab. You know, it's always been something that I really loved, and just, you know, my parents encouraged me to continue studying that.
That is dope. That is dope. Man, your dad set the bar kind of high as a father of a young girl, because I have young girls, I've said it many times, but he built you your own lab? Man, I got to get out.
So what he did, he used to be a bar, so he didn't build it from scratch, but what he did was he filled it with all of these little science kits, and he made me this giant, do you remember when they used to have the printer paper that was attached, that had like the holes on the side?
The little holes?
Instagram page. It's a secret laboratory, and you know, it's like one of those things, like when you see it, you can be it. And so it's like, you know, once I saw that, it kind of was already in my head, like, you know, I'm a scientist. And he never pushed these, you know, typical to do. It's like, you know, don't force. I mean, I love play with dolls and doing girly stuff, dressing up, but he didn't let that deter him from still helping me make rockets and, you know, and all these other things. So it was cool. Yes.
Shout out to the good dads out there. STEM Sister said dads are the best, and especially dads who encourage you to go down. That we don't know. So when you had ducks, is that speaking of something? Is that speaking of something we should know about Christopher Elliott? Is he spilling some tea out here on STEMedia Live?
Oh Lord, that's my brother-in-law. Yeah, so that's the other side we wanted to pursue. One was a veterinarian, and I wanted to be a veterinarian, and I actually used to be a vet tech. I worked for a vet hospital. Yeah. And wow. Being random and just like, hey, I brought a new dog home, or I brought a new duck home, or whatever. Right. So yeah, I've had
some heart, some love sharing. We're starting to see that she was quite eclectic, a professional girlfriend. Loves your turban. Definitely dope. The colors are popping. Yep. Shout out to everybody. Malaya Elliott says she remember that paper. I totally
had to participate in the euthanization, and that part I was like I will do it, because I was
can't do it
harder. Yeah, I was crying harder than the owner, and the vet was like, you can't cry harder than the vet owner. Like, that's not gonna work.
If you have any questions to throw in, feel free. I love the feedback. But speaking of your eclectic, even childhood, we haven't even got to adulthood. You also had the opportunity to participate in.
So again, that was one of those things. My dad always, even though he worked for the FAA, he always wanted to be an astronaut, and so love of space was something he was constantly kind of.
Florida, okay.
Yeah, it was an interesting experience. I remember being not only like I don't even remember there being any girls there, but I definitely remember being the only Black person there.
Yeah,
to me, because I felt it. I felt very, very different down there, and I think, and when I think about my journey, that's one of the first times that I really.
Syndrome.
Yeah, and so that was a little tough. I mean, but it was still cool. I mean, I didn't go into space ultimately, but you know, the experience was still was still a cool one.
Still a cool one. Yeah, for sure. And I just think the I guess still rely on in your field. But y'all continue to give her some hearts, give her some love for the young Kelly, who at this point pretty good success, right?
Yeah.
Academically?
Yeah, I mean, I went to a small private school, but I did end up being valedictorian of my small private school class.
All right.
Cool. A while to actually get to that point. I always was really into school, but it took a while for me to really figure out what worked for me academically. And so when I got to like 9th or 10th grade is when I finally realized that, how to take notes, that rewriting notes and organizing them. And so I ended up being valedictorian. I was also captain of the cheerleading team at one time. So it was just one of those things where, I felt being the dumb people in the group. But yeah, I was into volleyball. I played volleyball. I did tennis, cheerleading. Yeah.
Like we've already met like 7 of the personalities at least.
I know. A lot. I mean,
yeah, that's dope though.
Try a lot of different things. I mean, that's just always been my.
And we're gonna definitely get into the forensic science soon. And so I see that question, Kush. We're gonna definitely get to that. Shout out to Young Goose Math Tutoring, y'all. I am with Kelly, the scientist. I think that's a phenomenal name, Kelly. And the little hashtag was going me and somebody's lab, because it was like, I guess there was a hashtag going with like me and somebody's son or whatever, like people posting that. Yeah. And then it started like the science version, me and somebody's lab. And I don't know if that was your first post or not, but I think that's the first time I saw you doing your thing.
Yeah, that was one of my earlier posts. What happened to that? It was a good one, but that was definitely one of my first posts, probably within the first month or two.
Yeah. Well, y'all, if y'all aren't following her, people watching this, please make sure you tap up in the corner and you can get to her account that way. Please follow her. We're going to talk more about what she got going on with your journey, Kelly. And you all feel free to relate to her. Is that you had experiences that you had your share of challenges, I guess, when you got out of high school. You were quite successful, but talk a little bit about challenges you experienced that kind of led you to where you are.
Yeah. So, like I said, I was valedictorian in high school, right? So I went on to George Washington University, and and I was going to be pre-med, I was going to be a doctor. Oh, good. And then I got to my biology class with 200 other people, and it was hard. It was hard, and I was struggling, and I got my first C ever.
Wow.
And, to be a perfectionist,
she's good degrees, but
any day now.
Right.
But at the time, it was like, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, oh my God, like, what's going on? Like, am I dumb? Like, how come I'm not, getting a good grade in this? And then at this, an A in the class. And so I said, all right, well, instead of, figuring out what I was passionate about, I was following what I was was just doing well at academically, which in hindsight, I don't really think that was so I took chemistry, and chemistry was all fine, well and good until good old Orgo came around.
Organic chemistry.
I excel in chemistry when it's very mathematical based. Like I love math. I excel in math, and so like your Gen Chem and your P Chem and those kind of classes where there's like a lot of math involved. All right, but when it comes to like the visualization,
right? Can you draw it for me? Can you draw it for me and put the numbers by it? Yeah.
I was struggling and struggle after struggle. And I didn't know who to reach out to. I tried reaching out to faculty. They were no help. They kind of looked at me in their office like, it has made me such a better professor myself because I can think about what I was thinking about when I went into faculty members' offices. And I tell my students off the break, I'm like, look, if you come to my office, it's going to be me and you having it's going to be cool because I want you to feel comfortable coming to me because I did not. And because of that, I was majoring in science. My parents were not STEM majors. And so I didn't have anybody to really talk to about how do I make this work? How do I succeed? So I got out of undergrad with barely a 3.0, barely a 3.0. That was going to be the graduate program at VCU. And I did not.
Virginia Commonwealth, Yeah,
and I didn't think I had the GPA to get in, but I said, there's a whole story that goes
a whole nother story. Oh man,
we can talk about that later. But there's a whole nother level of success that came
to some of our friends that's coming on. Dr. Corey Grayson, I see you coming through. Nessa, good to see you. Dr. John, good to see you. Hip Hop Science. We appreciate y'all's support. And I think you really can relate. Like your story is so relatable because to more than one person, right? Because there are people who may look at the valedictorian they are, and you're like, no, look, I was valedictorian and I still had these struggles. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then people who are like at that point in college can say, man, I'm not going to get a good career. You still manage to get by and then get into a master's program that we could talk about. So I just think that's a really good up here then down here and barely getting by. Like what would you say is a lesson you learned from that period of life?
I mean, in hindsight, when I look back on it, it's like, you don't have to necessarily be the smartest person in the for yourself. And you need someone who's going to advocate for you. So you need a mentor.
Oh, wow.
And those two things were really missing for me in undergrad because once I got down and I was no longer confident enough to advocate for myself because my self-confidence was just tanking. And then what would have helped is if I had do this, here's my advice, that would have completely changed the game for me. Instead, I was confronted with faculty members who just saw that I was failing their class. Yes, I got an F in college. Big whoop. I'm a professor.
Matter.
Okay.
They don't put that on your paycheck though. They don't put it. She got an F. That only says. But what I love it.
And I see this now as a faculty member, is they start to just see this grade. They lose touch of the person that's behind the grade. They lose touch. I had students come to my office who are like, I'm failing your class because I'm the only person who has to work full time. That you find faculty who see more than just your grade. You have to get those connections.
True. That's true. Man, y'all give her some hearts. Give her some fire. Give me a flame in the comments. Somebody give me a flame. Because she is lighting it up in here. I appreciate that, Kelly. I knew you had something in the clip. That's why I was like, give her some lessons. Y'all, Kelly Knight, a friend, scientist, professor, student, mom, so much. We found out, motorcyclist, you know what I mean? Athlete, scholar, whole nine. Team Corey came through. You liked at that period at some point in life, right? So it's a little bit about that next phase where you were actually able to connect with someone who was able to sort of advocate for you in a way.
Absolutely. So I 0.9 GPA ain't gonna get me nowhere. So I'm gonna try this one program, and if I don't get in, then that's it. I'm just gonna go find somewhere else. So I applied.
Yeah.
I was waitlisted, but but God. Straight up, she said, "What happened? What happened?" She said, she saw that I had done an amazing internship my senior year, and that really caught her eye. It interned at a very high-profile laboratory in forensics, and that drew her eye. But then she saw my GPA, and she was like, "What went down?" And my case, I said, "But if you let me into your program, I'm telling you, this work ethic, this ambition is going to be off the chain. I'm going to change it all around." And it was so funny. They asked me to come back and do the commencement speech for their program.
Oh, come on now. Look at that. Look at it. Full circle. Let's talk about full circle.
She said, "I'll never forget when I got on a call with her, and I could feel the passion coming through the phone. I knew that she was going to change when she came to the program. And not only my mindset changed, which was important, very important, my mindset, but having her as a mentor completely changed the how to reach out to me, how to support me, and how to tell me when I need to pull it together. Like, when I cried in her lab because my research was going to crap, and she was like, "You got to do these things." And so having her support through graduate school, and then even still to this day, I call her all the time whenever it comes to like a career decision.
I love it.
I mean, she has just been amazing. And so having her has really put in me the need to give back and to do that for other students, because she just changed my life. I would have never been in the program. I would have continued down this line of not having, not feeling smart, not feeling confident. And it just would have not been. And that was,
come on now.
That was so important. And so now I try to pay that back with other students.
Right.
I've hired several interns to work for me, and I do the and that passion. Then you're going to get it before that 4.0 student who came in here thinking he knew everything or she knew everything, and that I'm doing them a favor.
Yeah.
We're not doing that.
Everybody's like, dopeness fired. Look at God. Wow, what a blessing. Yes, I love it. He crushed it. CNN. Right. Shout out to your mentor. I know this thing is dope. Y'all still have a relationship, but those of us who are watching this, who are in roles as mentors, right? And no matter where, beyond just the surface, the GPA or the performance on a certain exam or whatever the case may be, and actually see what's deeper. Because, and I know you agree with this, Kelly, you know what I mean? The road to success involves failure. And so really what a better indicator isn't necessarily you always getting high marks, but really, agree?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah, there's so much more you can learn about a person beyond their grades. And sometimes they just need that. What I have learned as a faculty member is how clueless most of us are know if they're going to be able to eat that night or that morning or where they're going to sleep. And here you are judging them based off of a simple grade. Now, I'm not saying that if you get straight Fs or, straight Ds or whatever, that you to show their passion and to have a chance to turn things around for themselves, because there's so many things that could have caused somebody to fail or to. And when I tell you I am mad, like when my grades, I'm like, what was happening? Like, what was going on?
I know. Me too.
And then I look at my graduate GPA and it's like almost a 4.0. And it's like, and to help me change my mindset in order for me to be successful. So sometimes you got to take that chance. Now, have I been burned by that? Absolutely. Yeah. They came and worked for me, and then I completely
maybe not as
I completely regretted it, because I started to see they had poor work habits, or they just, they expected things to be handed to them, or they lacked the benefit way outweighs the risk.
Y'all give her some hearts, give her some love. There's a beat, and you know what I'm saying? This will be a fire verse right now, Kelly. I'm just saying. This will be a fire cipher we got going on here. So y'all, thank y'all so much. But we're gonna go ahead and transition, because I know that was sort of in part of your life. You're so much about you that it's really like we could go on forever. But let's talk about forensic science a little bit. How did you get into that? And I do want you to go back, and we did have her early kind of comment about forensic science. feeling. Now I'm working in CSU, and that is diverse. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your interest into it, and maybe you can touch on. I think she was just making a comment, and thank you for sharing into the field.
Yeah, so I first was introduced to.
Who's that? Hip Hop Science Show said we need to get you a cameo on the show too. You mean on CNN? You're already on TV. We need to get you on that. So we'll work on that. We'll work on that behind the scenes.
Right. So when I was in 11th grade, I had it was really, really interesting. We did some blood typing that just dates how old that was right there, because nobody's view into the field.
Okay.
Excuse me. And then, like I said, when I first started in undergrad, I thought I was going to be pre-med. Didn't want to do that. Changed my major to chemistry. But what I did notice was that my major had a concentration in forensic chemistry. And so I used that concentration because I had remembered that interest I had in forensics from high school. I did my undergrad. They didn't have any type of undergraduate program in forensic science. So what that meant was if you did the forensic chemistry concentration, you were taking forensic chemistry classes that were at the grad in my regular classes. And so that really was like my final confirmation, like, all right, I really want to do forensics, but I didn't want technology laboratory.
There we go.
And they're like the largest, most well-known forensic DNA laboratory in the world, not just in the US, in the entire world. Yeah. And so, that was the lab that caught my now mentor's eye. And that was my first step into forensic DNA. And I loved it. I was like, all right, looking at, dirty blankets and, all these other things is way
you put it under my.
Once we have the giant stereoscope, we have all different types of microscopes.
Yeah.
It was so cool to me. And so, I worked in the forensic biology laboratory. My 2 years I was there, I ended up becoming the lab manager. So that was a super awesome opportunity.
Nice.
I published research, went to different conferences, and then I had a couple police crime lab, and
got you. Yes. Okay.
I was there. Yep. And so I was working as a forensic DNA analyst.
Now let's pause for a second. So give us a nice, concise definition for it, and then go into all right what you did now as you work for the Maryland, law enforcement. Crime lab. Go ahead.
So the most simple definition is just the application. Any science where you or really any field in STEM, because you can be a forensic engineer, you can be a forensic accountant, you can be in cybersecurity. All of these things are under the umbrella and comparing it to something that's unknown. So ultimately, that's what anyone who has that title of forensics is doing. They're comparing knowns to unknowns and trying to see a match. So what I did in the crime lab was I worked in the DNA section. Fluid, blood,
sweat,
saliva,
guts, blood and guts.
All the internal fluids.
Oh, come on now.
I know, yes.
But you did it.
sexual assaults, burglary cases, anything where there's a high amount of transfer of biological fluids or skin cells. So yeah, that's what I did there.
And that role, I understand that you also
as forensic scientist. I still have to go to court to this day because some of my cases are just now hitting the justice system, and suspects are finally, going to court and that thing. So, that's an interesting experience. It's funny because now that I'm a professor to actually teach forensic science, I understand it on a entirely deeper level than I did even when I was in the lab. Because when you're in the lab, you're just going about all the mundane standard operating procedures. You're pipetting 50 microliters into 100 microliters, and you're doing all the lab stuff. Forensic scientists, after they get out of graduate school, they kind of, they forget the nitty gritty of the science. Yeah. So when you go to court and you have to talk about it, it could be a little stressful because you have to really remind yourself, like, oh crap, all right, why did I? Whereas now I have to teach it on a level that, people
can understand it.
Exactly. And so now when I go, it's honestly not as stressful because I'm a teacher, and it actually works to my benefit because science background other than a crime scene show. And so I try to
they watch a couple of dozen episodes of CSI and now well, I want to go here. Let me go here, Kelly, because I do know that, again, being in court cases, and y'all, this is Kelly Knight on us on STEMedia Live. Shout out to Keelan, I see you coming through. That when it's a court case, you have your defendants, and then you have your prosecutors, and more than likely the other side is trying to discredit the other side, right? So you have in the courtroom people trying to maybe even prove a point that's counter to what we have science trying to be undermined. And I think the primary motivation today in this society is politics, And so I'm wondering if you can say a little bit about, having the expertise, knowing what you know in this field of STEM, in this field of science, those who may try to undermine what you know to be accurate based on your expertise.
We were generally called to testify on behalf of either the state's attorney office or the prosecutors or the investigators, the detectives, that side of the aisle. But, when it comes to the defense attorneys, or it could make no scientific sense whatsoever. They could be like, well, can dogs jump over the moon? I mean, they just...
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, all they have to do, and it's actually, I mean, it can be a little scary at times, but all the jury think, oh, well...
Maybe it isn't.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There's pros and cons to that, because the pro to that is you want the justice system to be held accountable, held to a higher standard. There should be no room for doubt whatsoever. But what hurts so bad is when like forensic scientists, we can't say, we're not there to say like he committed the crime or she committed the crime. We're just there to speak scientific your cross-examination or whatever. Like, this is
like, could it have been?
One case I always think about was this one case I testified in where this prostitute, unfortunately, was raped. And whenever you talk about a prostitute, they always, character is always
character.
They try to they're like, well, isn't that what she does for work? Like, it's just awful. But I had tested her sexual assault kit. From within her, all had this gentleman's DNA on it.
Wow. Yeah.
And, I stopped at the fingernail swabbings because there were fingernail swabbings in there. I stopped there. And because I didn't test the fingernail swabs, the attorney made this huge deal about it and basically claimed that, we couldn't.
Hey, what is non-forcible rape?
You can't prove that it's forcible rape because we don't even know if his DNA is under her nails. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like, I just showed you 10 items. Really make you think, like seriously.
Yeah. Kelly Knight, y'all, give us some hearts, give us some love. People, I know y'all enjoying this. Y'all are enjoying this. Say, I am enjoying this, Kelly. Let me see you in the comments. People in forensic science, we see Kushbu said one attorney asked, can sperm evaporate? She died. It was so random. Oh man, that's kind of a crazy question.
Can sperm evaporate?
Yeah, I think they said one attorney said that.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Maybe that was her as well, but somebody else talking about. And listen, if you're watching this on YouTube or replay, whatever, one thing that is obvious in this is that you got to have a strong stomach to do this type of work.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at, what is it? Man, like, so, wait, hold on, give me a second. All right, we good. All right. Kelly, there's this notion though, right? I've heard work. So talk a little bit about that and maybe some of the challenges, because it seems like a great field and it seems like a lot of challenge and a lot of and how that plays a role.
Yeah, they're studying this more and more now. So vicarious trauma basically means that I may not have been through something traumatic myself. For example, as a forensic scientist, you're around death, doom, and destruction like all day, every day. And you like to think that it's not bothering you because it's just your job, right? It's like, well, this is my day to day.
Right.
Forensic scientists are starting to experience the traumatic side effects of it just as much as, sometimes the people who have actually gone through it. Because like, I think about, like, I remember when I was pregnant with my first son and processing rape kits and, all these kind of things and like baby blankets. And but if you can, if you could avoid giving me any type of child case for a while,
yeah,
because it was kind of eerie to be looking for evidence of like rape or trauma or things like that on like baby blankets. It messes with your head a little bit, and my husband says all the time now that he thinks I carry some pessimism and because of that, like, I'm paranoid about a lot of stuff, like my
psyche.
Son. I won't let him spend the night at any. I've seen too much. My kids will never spend the night at somebody else's house. I don't care. Whenever they go somewhere, somewhere, I'm always like super paranoid about what's happening to them or what they're doing, because my mind automatically goes to someone's going to kill them, someone's going to kidnap them. Like, it's tough to deal with.
Tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's
so
tough.
now they're saying that, forensic scientists really should the same
therapy, right?
Right, because it can be traumatic to, especially like crime scene folk who have to go to crime scenes and see people literally dead in front of you.
Well, listen, if you're watching this, if you know somebody too that has, really stable, strong stomach, first of all, but yet and still could find a passion in this, to those who watch it, I think it's dope that you pointed out, Kelly, how, really any STEM field can really lead to a career in forensics, whether it's accounting, whether a forensic science case, similar to walking into a room and you hear a whole bunch of noise all over their face, and you see it smudged all over, and you see an empty bottle of lotion or diaper cream over on the table, and you're like trying to figure out what happened here, and then man, get closer to the end. Motherhood, how have you balanced that by having such a crazy career, since you kind of brought that up? Talk a little bit about being a mom.
Yeah, so I love being a mom. It definitely has its ups and downs. I'm a working mom, and now, I'm in a PhD program. So it has definitely been a challenge. But, I just do the best I can with what I have. You may see all, the perfect smiley pictures, but please believe that behind that, there's a lot of days where I just feel like I'm failing, like hard, because, I'm missing out on time with my kids. But, I balance it as much as I can. I talk to, my kids are 7 and 2, so the 2-year-old still doesn't understand too much right now. But like my 7-year-old, when I talk about it, like he tells people like, my mommy's a forensic scientist, she's a teacher.
I love it.
I don't see that it's affecting him negatively. I see that he's proud of it, and I hope that one day when he looks back on, I think he'll be so proud of everything that I've done to try to improve my life and our lives, and that I still find time to do stuff for them. Monopoly for a couple hours. You just gotta check your priorities, but it's definitely possible. People always say, "How do you do so much? How are you?" And I tell you, I swear by my schedule. I schedule out everything, and I make sure that my family's always my priority, or whatever. So be it. I'll make it happen.
Yes. Well, you said it right on time, because Beaker 007 said, "How do you manage?" And so you mentioned your schedule and all that. That's really important, and I can relate to you 100%. I have my 2 little ones. Shout out to your husband as well. I haven't met him, but I know how important it is to have a supportive spouse and a teammate, household, and all those that are connected to you. So that's really dope. And man, I just feel like, again, these things go so fast. But before we get into sort of, you tell us what you got going, what would be your assessment on the field for those who are maybe teetering on it? Like, what would you say to the people who are like, I've been thinking to a young lady or a young man that is still trying to decide whether or not it's for them?
I would say if you're a student, definitely try taking like a survey course or something like that, just so you can kind of get a feel for what the different disciplines are, because a lot of people don't know how many different disciplines do biometrics and, you know, like facial reconstruction and all these other cool things that you don't even know about. And then try to reach out to somebody just to talk to them about what it is. Either interview them, FaceTime them, ask them if you could email them some questions. But definitely if you're going to go on the forensic science side, make sure that you like, and I mean like your credits, 70 to 90 of your credits are going to be science classes. So be prepared for that.
You and continue to follow the journey. I'm telling y'all, she hit Instagram like Instagram shook when she came on. And we can get it later because I see you freezing up a little bit, unfortunately. But we need to know how to follow you, Kelly. And for those who are just watching this now, I don't know if you know this, but up in the corner, up underneath the live, you'll see STEMedia, and then you'll see Kelly the Scientist. So you can always tap on that if you're watching this for the first time. We have to end our interviews with her giving us some parting words of wisdom. So shout out to everybody on. Shout out to Teresa, B Biologist. Good to see y'all. I'm glad you're hanging on. J Latina, I Dream of Carla. Good to see you. Beaker 007. We're going to see if Kelly can come back on to give us some party words of wisdom. I don't see her back on yet. Kelly the Scientist, waiting for you to come back on for sure. There you go. All right. Hey, it's all good.
Yeah, so follow me at Scientist KK, Facebook, Kelly the Scientist, and now I am launching my website,
www.kellyscientist.com. KellyTheScientist.com. Yes. Check that out. Follow her on Twitter, follow her on Instagram. And Kelly, if you could, this has been a fantastic interview. You know, this is, again, something I was looking forward to. And you're here. So if you can, if you can just give us something to hold on to as we go through
my personal journey on my Instagram page, if you guys want to follow me there. But I'll just end by saying, you know, there's no circumstance that can prevent you from achieving all that you want, whether, you know, you're a mom or, you know, you feel like you're not smart enough or whatever. That did everything for me. So once you have those things in place, all you have to do is start building those connections, get your network together, and start leveraging your resources, and you can change the world.
There you